Something very weird happened the other day. See, I'm in the midst of the discovery phase of trying to figure out as much as I possibly can about the homelessness and drug crisis issues that are plaguing Western society right now. Just gotta go get my camera.
I'm gonna ask you to leave.
And it's very complicated. I mean, I hope that that is obvious. So I've been attending city meetings and town halls and talking to people. I was at Susan Stevenson's Ward 4 town hall meeting the other day on September 10th, 2025, which focused almost entirely on talking about the homelessness crisis, which heavily affects Old East Village. I was there to listen to what the panel and community members had to say and ask a few questions myself. So, as I do, because I'm me, I set up a tripod with a camera on it. This was the shot. Just the panel, no other people's faces, just this. And my intention was to blur it just like you're seeing right now. So even the backs of people's heads are blurred, except for the panelists who are obviously there to be in front of everyone. I did this so that I could remember what was said, and for some people who weren't able to show up that evening to the event, but still wanted to hear how it went. I think that this is a really important thing to do, but I'll get into that a little bit more in just a bit. But why was I recording? Well, we're all very interested in learning more about and finding solutions for the unhoused population. And there were some great conversations happening, but conversations that anyone outside of that room, even if they weren't able to make it for accessibility reasons, won't ever get to hear now. Because I'd been recording for about 38 minutes when she approached me and my camera and asked me to stop recording. For context, I had just left the camera on a tripod for most of the time and then went to sit in the audience with everyone else. She chose this time in particular, probably, to approach me and make the request because I was just over at the camera, making sure that it was still recording and doing all right. I acknowledged her with an okay, which didn't mean I was going to stop recording this public event because I think I was within my right to do so. I mean, again, this is a public event that anyone, any resident especially, can show up to, put on by a council member, Susan, and rented out and paid for with taxpayer money for the rental of the space. 2 minutes passed, and you can see her make the decision to come over to turn my tripod around, which is touching my personal property, which is a whole thing I'm not even going to get into right now. But at this point, I started recording what was happening on my phone because this was getting ridiculous. I went over and turned the tripod back around a few moments later, and she came back to grab the tripod and camera and drag it off to the front with her, where I had to go fetch it in front of everyone. I think for some people that might have been embarrassing, and maybe that's what she was going for, where, oh, he'll have to come back and get it later. Just gotta go get my camera. No, I yoinked that pretty hard and said, nah, that's mine. Like, I'm taking this back. That's as she was trying to turn off the recording and stop the recording on the camera. Again, personal property. I realize it's recording and everything, but she's still, like, touching my personal property. And
I'm gonna ask you to leave, please.
I took it back to where I was.
But
I just wanted the document.
I'm gonna ask you to leave. Okay.
But then I was approached by corporate security, where I was given the choice to either leave or to stop recording.
We're going to have to ask you to leave.
What the police were being told to do and what
Why
the
so?
city was doing is coming and telling everybody.
Pardon?
She doesn't want you here.
But it's a public meeting.
You're asked to leave.
It's a private thing, but
It's a public meeting, not
and
private.
you're
She doesn't want you to film. You can say it, but you can't film. That's what she's telling you.
Okay. I yielded and stopped recording, of course, because I actually wanted to hear what people were saying. Again, I'm just here to document, but also listen. Like, anyways. I do have to say, though, for future reference for corporate security, whether that's through the city or other means, you should really have a badge with you. Because do you see anything indicating that this guy is official? He's just wearing a polo. Because, like, I still don't even know if that guy was just a rando in the crowd or not. He could have just said that he's corporate security.
Mark? I'm with corporate security, so...
But he didn't have any sort of identification. It wasn't like it was a police interaction, so I wasn't too worried. It could have just been a rando stating that he's corporate security, but really, like, how am I supposed to know who you are without a badge or ID, right? Now, I stopped the recording on the main cam, but I continued recording on my phone, as everyone should always do when these things are happening and you're not sure of things. Whether things escalate or not, it's just there to prevent miscommunication, or just to make sure that if anything does happen, that facts are facts and not just made up. Anyway, everything was all right, so I went to sit down and continue listening.
Yeah. Positions and disturbing the unhoused.
Are you,
Every few hours, and nobody is winning because the businesses don't really care that it's a different 10 2 hours later. So it is again one of those conversations that I think again it's up to council to set policy. There's been, I think, a reluctance to wade into what is a very complex, very emotional topic. This is also avoided by council, right? It's tough to be accountable on something that matters so much, that's so expensive that it's
may not be easy.
No reason was given by Susan or corporate security until a few minutes later. After everyone had cooled down, I went ahead and had a calm chat with Mr. Corporate Security. This was difficult though, because this lady kept on loudmouthing and not letting us have an adult conversation about things. He mentioned that it was a problem because people want to speak up at these community meetings, but might not want to because the camera is there recording.
If you want to film, you're going to have to ask her because it's her meeting, right? So, and it's
Okay, go on, sorry.
and it's also our property.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to ask for permission to film here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You understand that?
Yes, except
Because there's other people here that don't want to be filmed.
for sure, except for the presenters. But if I'm part of the discussion,
Are you
which
part
I
of
have a
this?
question, yes.
Okay, well that's fine, but
So-
nobody here wants to be filmed.
Okay,
You know,
but single party consent allows for it in Canada.
The neighbors
And it's-
don't want
it's-
people to know that they're either.
So the neighbors don't want-
Themselves here and watch this.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
exactly
But it's a
why.
public meeting, though.
Yes, but it doesn't need to be recorded. We don't know who you're giving it to. We didn't give anybody permission to see who's coming here because there's people that will, I'm being serious.
If she wanted to film, she would have our staff film it
For
her.
sure.
That will
Yeah.
target us as neighbors and landlords and then create more problems.
It's a public safety
for our
thing for
kids.
the people at this meeting.
I mean, I can understand that, although again, this is a public event and everyone else who's there can hear them and see them, no matter which side they're on. Also, there's no sides in this right now, we're just discussing things, right? So it's weird that they weren't stopping anyone else from filming. Yes, I had a proper tripod and a normal camera. I literally was using one of my worst camera setups possible. I just plopped it there. Speaking of, you know what the other weird thing, debatably the weirdest thing of the night was? That if you use that excuse of people's safety, etc., not recording them or what they say,
It's a public
For
safety
our
thing for
kids.
the people at this meeting.
well, Susan's husband had been filming this whole time using a tripod. Even when I was having this discussion, his phone was on a tripod, still recording in the meeting room or the gymnasium. And it never stopped recording until the event was over. So why is he allowed to do that if the reason for me having to stop recording was for everyone's safety?
It's a public safety
our
thing for
kids.
the people at this meeting.
That's a double standard. And I don't think it's right. Actually, why aren't these events streamed and recorded by the city for accessibility reasons? Why, if people want to document these events, do I even have to go through the process of bringing my own gear and spending my own time recording? I'm not saying anyone's forcing me to do that, but I don't think anyone else is doing it. And if they did want to do that, or if anyone else wanted to record, then they'll suffer the same fate as me. And they'll get shut down trying to keep a public meeting transparent. So really what I'm looking for here are answers. Are citizens and residents allowed to film these events or not? it definitely seems counter to the whole point of these public events, which are supposed to be transparency and bring transparency to the community and hear people's voices. Because from my research online, I got the general gist that recording town hall meetings is important because it increases transparency and accountability for elected officials, of course. But it also provides historical records of public discussions and decisions. Not that any decisions get made at these sort of town hall meetings, but it also ensures the accessibility for those who are unable to attend. I already mentioned that, but it also allows for a broader public participation in local governance by enabling review and engagement and commentary with the meeting content after the fact, because a lot of people never got their questions answered. And Susan got people to write down their questions on paper, and there were a lot of papers in her hand. You can see that right here. Now, I can't make any assumptions, but I can be clear about Susan's actions, which is that she censored a video recording that would have otherwise been publicly available broadly to more people online, and she did that by forcing me to stop recording. I don't know on what grounds, or if she could do that, but even the fact that she did ask me to do that, I don't know. It just seems wrong. I don't know. What do you think? I'm genuinely asking at this point because I am trying to compile a lot of what the community members are saying, what councillors are saying, what officials are saying, news articles. I'm really trying to figure out, and going into the history of all of this, deinstitutionalization, etc., of the psych wards and psych hospitals and everything, and I'm trying to get more information to help everyone, because this is an issue that really everyone has to deal with across all of pretty much Western society right now, especially anyways, I could get into this, but that's a whole other video. I'll post the entire whole uncut video of what I have on my second channel for full transparency and context. Links and such in the description, so check those out and have a great one. Thanks for watching and let me know what you think. I genuinely want to know. Bye.